Welcome.
Hello there.
You thought I was frozen there for a minute, didn't you?
I did. I did. So still.
And you got very scared. You're like, "Uh-oh, I'm doing this alone."
It's like a Drax in the Avengers movie where he's like, sometimes I just move so slowly. People don't realize I'm here.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Well, it's good seeing you, Aaron. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Doing well.
Yeah, okay. I was just looking to see what it was telling me. I can watch this video on my TV. So,
Wow.
yeah, since my TV's downstairs, that would not be very helpful. Good to know. Good to know, though.
Yeah. At least you have that option.
Yeah. So we usually start out with just some news and information regarding St. Paul, just real quick. And I guess one thing I want to mention is that we're doing prayer walking. It's become a habit, right? Prayer walking Thursday at 5:30.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we'll start busting out the popsicles again. Prayer
Oh,
popsicles.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, prayer and popsicles. I like that. Yeah, that would be great. And there's been I think there's only been 1 week when we haven't done it.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so, show up at the church at 5:30. If no one's there, feel free to go ahead and take a walk. It's a safe neighborhood as far as we know. Uh, just feel free to take a walk and pray silently, unless you're one of those types that really like to pray out loud loudly, and you can do that as well, just however God leads you. And also throughout the week, we've kind of this whole pandemic thing is lasting much longer than what we thought it would.
Hmm.
And so we started the prayer time on Tuesdays, and we've been keeping that up at Tuesdays at 7. And then, this thing that we're doing, this DNA thing that,
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be, just 2 or 3 weeks. And I don't know how many we've done. We've done quite a
Yeah.
few.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm having fun, so why not?
Okay, well, good. That's really why we do it.
Yeah.
As long as you're having fun, Aaron, that's, we want to keep you happy as possible.
It's all for my happiness, none for your edification.
Yes, exactly. It is all about you. Also, I'll mention, I guess, in passing, we're testing out a new website, stpaul.life. And, there's some challenges with using Facebook as a place to gather community online.
Hmm.
And one of the challenges is with all the distractions all around you, you're kind of reading stuff from St. Paul, and then, you get distracted somewhere else. Another big challenge is we will post something on Facebook, and Facebook will tell us how many people that has reached. And we have well over 200 people that are like liking our page or part of our page. And some of the posts, it'll say it's reached 30 people or
Hmm.
it's reached 50 people. And so what that means is that there's a lot of people who are part of St. Paul who say we want to get this information, who are not getting it unless they specifically go to the page, St. Paul's page, and read through it. And then sometimes that can get a little bit cluttered and a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
So the stpaul.life site, and that's the URL, stpaul.life. It's really stripped down version of what you get from Facebook, and you have something added, which is courses. So we've got a couple of prototypes on there, and right now we're encouraging people to go there, and you can sign in with your Google account or your Facebook account,
Hmm.
and
Well, you can create one just through your email if you want.
yeah, or you could create one. I mean,
If
you can
you're
create
old
one.
school.
Yeah. If you're like, you know what? No, I'm not using my Google or my Facebook. You can create your own. And we're really looking for feedback because I think it could be really helpful for our spiritual growth. And I think that leads us into our topic that we're having in a little bit.
Yeah.
But Aaron and I, and maybe others, will be able to create these courses. I tend to do short videos and then discussion pages. If you want to discuss that, you can always leave comments in various places. You can take a look at the site activity to see what's going on. You also have your own activity feed. So when you connect with folks, I guess that's kind of like friending them. You can see, their activity as well. And it'll be a place where you can encourage one another, and you don't have to worry about running into some nasty meme. Or maybe I should say some mean meme. I like that. Some meme, because you know how I like that alliteration.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and also there's a place where I think it's called a group called News, Notes, and Announcements, and that's a place where we can let you know about service information, what we're planning for Sunday.
Mhm.
I'm thinking at the beginning of the week I will post opportunities for that week. And it'll probably be much easier to find than what it will on Facebook, because if I do that on Facebook, you may or may not see it.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works.
Yeah.
So what else do we need to bring up?
I think that's all we have for
Aaron?
right now.
That's all? Okay. So I guess we could jump into our topic de jour. Do you want to get us into this, or shall I?
Why don't you tell us sort of why you were thinking about this topic in the first place, if you feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah, I mean, I do think about this topic quite a bit. And in fact, I think I thought about it. Last week, I sent a message to Aaron. I say, hey, for the next the next show, let's do living in ambiguity.
I said it sounds ambiguous.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Which it wasn't real clear. But then yesterday and Monday and yesterday, I was thinking, I thought, maybe this talking about attention. And then today, my wife comes up and she says, the car won't start. Dead, completely dead. And so she took my car, and so I have a charger, hook the car up to the charger. I have been leaving it on the charger. Every so often I'll go and I'll try to start it. It doesn't turn over. It clicks the starter, and then everything goes dead. And I tried jumping it with my daughter's car, but I didn't have a lot of time to do that. And I thought, well, why don't I just leave it on the charger all day, and then later I'll try to jump it after it's been on the charger and stuff. And so that's where my attention has been. I won't say my focus, but my attention. And so no matter what I'm doing, and this is just kind of no matter what I'm doing, it's kind of on the back burner, reminding me that, Dave, the whole car thing. Yeah. It might not be the battery. It could be something with the starter. It could be something else. The battery might be fine.
Yeah.
And you might have to pay to have it towed somewhere for them to tell you the repair is going to cost X amount of dollars. And I just had the car in to have it serviced last Friday. So yeah. So that's kind of been taking some of my attention today. But that was not the reason why I thought of this topic. It just kind of worked out that way.
Yeah. And so our topic is, I'm not sure we actually ever told anyone exactly what our topic is.
I don't know if we have. No. Yeah.
Yeah. So our topic is focusing on what we give our attention to, and how what we pay attention to, or the things that we focus on, how those shape us and form us. So, as David was saying, all day he's having a little voice in his head that's telling him, it might be all of these other things, and it's taken his focus and all of those sorts of things. And by taking his focus, it really redirects the things that you want to do or are going to do, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of other things I was planning on doing today, working on, and the challenge is that even as I'm working on other things, it like fragments me
Yeah.
because I'm also thinking about this.
Mm-hmm.
And last week we talked about, how to find joy in the midst of a pandemic. And one of the challenges is this exact thing that, looking at the news or I'll throw on Facebook memes or things like that cause our attention to go to those things. And
Mm.
so we really start, it's in the background. It's kind of that background noise. Even when we move to something else, that still might be. Have you ever, some of you, and feel free to comment. I'll try to put comments up. Have you ever, read something
Mm.
and like an hour or two later, you're still kind of steamed about it?
That's why I don't read the news anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, and we talked about that last week. Just this
Yeah.
constant, news cycle and reading the news and stuff just can really cause our focus to be maybe not where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we're getting at today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I need to do something real quick in the middle of the show. I hope I don't disappear because I'm having some network issues. So I'm going to re-plug in my network card, which should be fine,
Okay.
but one never knows.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as you work
So,
on that let me throw in some input here. So, we're talking about what you think about and how, and as we just talked about, what you think about can shift the things that you do. It can redirect what you had planned into focusing on something completely else. But here's the thing: it's not just ruining your day; it's ruining who you are and who you become by what you focus on. Now, I know that sounds really extreme, and
well,
it's not
well,
something that one bad day is going to ruin everything. But when we consistently let it happen, it will. So what I mean by this, is that when we are so hyper focused on something, as I said, it changes what we do. When we change what we do, we end up changing the things that we love. There's a certain ritual that happens in almost everything that we do. I like to say, because I'm a professional religious person. That every day we are worshiping something. The question is, are we worshiping God? Are we worshiping our culture? Are we worshiping something else? And now, in that sense, the things that we do are very ritualistic. So I want you to think, for example, of a mall. So when you go to a mall, it's a very religious experience. Most people don't think about it that way, but it is. You go and you can see the special garb on the walls. As you walked in, you're greeted by a proselyte, if you will, who's inviting you in to experience this sort of pseudo-religious experience. You find something that you've been looking for. You find something that you've been looking for. You bring it to this altar, the checkout counter, where you have a priest, where you are sacrificing part of yourself to receive that which you think is going to fulfill you. And there's this priest, this cashier that oversees the transaction. Now, I know it's weird to think things that way, but I do. And so it's inherently religious. And by thinking about things the way that we do, so by thinking about things through, in this example, a consumer mindset, which is very much a part of our culture here in America, when we think of things through a consumer mindset, it drives us to do things like go to malls or stores or whatever, go through this religious experience, and we end up loving that which we sacrificed our money for, that which we sacrificed our time for. And when we love those things, we are formed into a type of person. So when we begin to love those items or wares or whatever, we begin to become formed into materialistic people in that example. So I know that's sort of extreme, and I'm doing a lot of talking here, so I'll let you weigh in on that.
I, I was going to say that there's a place where all that breaks down,
Yeah.
and that's in the yard sale.
Yeah.
Because what you've done is that thing that you've loved, and the thing that you have. Oh wow, I'll leave that up there. That thing that you love and that thing that you sacrifice for. After a while, you realize, oh, you know what? That wasn't it. That wasn't what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And so you end up sitting out in your yard, actually just hoping and trying to get rid of it. And if you can't, what do you end up doing with all the stuff that's left over?
Yeah.
I'm just going to give this away. I'll take it to Goodwill. I'll take it somewhere. I just want to get rid of it.
Yeah, whatever.
But at one point, you're right. That's exactly what we go through. And I can't remember the quote, and you may remember the quote. It is, what you think about is the most important thing about you. I was thinking it might have been C.S. Lewis, but I'm thinking it might have been maybe A.W. Tozier, someone like that. What you think about is the most important thing about you. Because like you said, what you think about will be what you end up loving, and what you love is what you tend to become more like. So
yeah, that's interesting. You know, I think that's interesting. You know, we really love to protect the things that we think about. Like we're really defensive over those things. You know, take for example, if someone were to want to see your phone, like you get like really protective over like the things that you Googled or your search history, because you think of like, what might someone think about if they realize I've been Googling the Taco Bell menu?
yeah, what have you been Googling, man?
The Taco Bell menu.
Okay. I thought you had that memorized though.
No, not yet. But no, but you know, or questions, or you know, like what questions are we asking Google? What does that reveal about the things that we think about? Things like that. That's where I was.
You know, one of the places I was hoping to get to, and our show's just, I mean, we're 17 minutes in. It just seems like we started. But one of the things is that we would think about what we think about, that we would think about what we give our attention to. And you know, one of the things that I had mentioned in the past couple of weeks in sermons is what you feed will grow stronger. And if you're feeding to the flesh, that becomes something demanding. It demands. The spirit invites, the flesh imposes. And one of the things that I realized looking through some of the Facebook memes, that that some of them are actually sowing to the flesh. When you look at that list that Paul does in Galatians 5, what is it, about 19, 20, somewhere around there. Envy, not envy, dissensions, factions, bitterness. I mean, you read through there and it's like, my goodness. And I have some dear Christian friends that I see posting this stuff. And my question is, what is that doing to their soul? You know, it's one, you know, and maybe you read it because, you know, you're passing through, but if you're actually reposting that stuff, it is actually lodging itself somewhere within you. And Aaron, just like what you were saying, you know, when you go into the mall or any store and you know, I was thinking when you go up to the altar, you're giving your alms, that you're sacrificing something about you. It does do something to your soul. And we usually don't think of things like that. And so what would it look like if we were able to pay attention to what we pay attention to?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think I did want to, you know, give this in. Yeah.
I don't know how I did that. It was an accident. But
what? Oh, I put that up there.
Oh, you did?
I did that. Yeah. I have full control, man.
But ooh,
Uh,
excellent question.
yeah, pray about without ceasing. I think part of that is to John Wesley had a practice that I think it was every time the bell tolled, and I'm sure Aaron knows this practice. Every time he heard the bell ring, he would pray, no matter what he was doing. And you realize that you can do that. That even when you're going through your daily days, and as you're talking with folks, you can have this other part of you lifted up to God.
Hmm.
It may take some practice, but you basically, lay yourself before God. And so one of the things I think we could do is say, Lord, let me know when I start paying attention to the things that pull me away from you, that deform me rather than reform or transform me. And I mentioned the
Hmm.
Facebook, some of the Facebook memes. That's kind of an easy thing. What kind of thoughts do you have on those deformative attention getters?
Mm. I want to address real quick, just a little tidbit on what you were saying to Rhiannon's question, which I think is a really excellent question.
Yes, it is.
How would you apply prayer without ceasing to today's topic, over our thoughts and things like that? I think when I think about faith, the most effective definition of faith that I've ever heard has been trust, and that you're continuously learning to trust God more and more. So when
Yeah.
you're growing in faith, you're learning to trust Him with more of your life. John Wesley used in his studies on salvation, things like that. He used the analogy of a house. As you're growing in faith, and I love that, because as you let Jesus into your heart, as you let Jesus into the house, there's this funny thing that we could do where we could try and keep him in one part. Like we can say, you can be here in the living room, but you can't go check out what's in the closets and things like that. Or we can let him roam about the entire house. And that's what growing in faith means. It means letting him in more and more. So when we have those things that are taking up our thoughts and that we're thinking about, and I think praying without ceasing is an important part of that. It's lifting those things up to God, and in saying that you're in control of this, or acknowledging that the thought is there, but saying that that's not what I'm going to think about right now. I remember when I really started. Learning Christian meditation, if you will, meditative prayer, things like that. The difference between Christian meditation and what people would usually think of as meditation is that typical meditation is like emptying your mind, right? And Christian meditation, we've come to learn, is filling your mind. It's filling it with Scripture. That's why the Scriptures say to meditate on the Word day and night. And so, one of the things that I had to learn is that when I would try and meditate on Scriptures and things like that, other thoughts would start like filling my mind. Oh, you need to do this. You need to do this. Think about this. Think about. And the thing that really helped me, that a mentor shared with me, was don't say to yourself, don't give those thoughts the room to grow. You do that by sort of trying to ignore them. When you say, I'm not thinking about you, I'm not thinking about you, I'm not thinking about you, it makes you think about it more and more. But instead to actually acknowledge it and say, I have that thought, but I'm not going to think about that right now. I'm going to give that to God to worry about right now, and I'm not going to think about that right now because I'm focused on this. I don't know if that helps anyone, but
Yeah, I'm working on the St. Paul Life to do a course called basically called the Appraisal Process,
mm-hmm.
on how we can make decisions in God, in the Spirit of God.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first step is to abide in awe-filled attention.
Mm.
And I think those three words are very instructive for being formed in the will and way of Jesus. We abide, and you can look up abide, in awe-filled, that awe that comes from connecting with God, and attention, meaning we're giving Him our attention.
Mhm.
And but as we get ready to close our little show for today, I guess I encourage you to pay attention to what you're paying attention to, and then
Mhm.
ask yourself, how is this forming me? Is it
Mhm.
forming me in a good way, or is it forming me in a negative way? And then you need to decide, what is it? Because our attention, what you think about is the most important thing about you, and our attention is precious. And so, what do you want to? And this is the phrase, pay attention to. It's interesting that we talk about paying
Mhm.
attention. We only have so much, but we're actually sacrificing a part of ourselves to pay attention to whatever.
Mhm.
So,
That's a good
well,
word.
we've gone 26 minutes. I think that's a record.
And yeah, it's a little bonus action for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. So any closing words, Aaron?
Be blessed. Be blessed, and get and free your mind to Christ. Maybe
Yes.
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Well, I need to put some like closing music on this so we can start playing music at the end. But since we don't have any of that, Aaron will sing us out.
Oh no, no,
All right. Well, I'll see you guys all later. Hope you're having a wonderful and blessed week.
no.